Welcome to the Dark Ozarks. We are discussing the connection between witchcraft and the Ozarks. You hear about witchcraft in old Europe, New Orleans, even Salem, Massachusetts, but how much conjuring and magic is there in the Ozarks?
The hills and hollows and plateaus hide lots of things, and practicing witchcraft has always been here, from Native American black magic to slaves keeping conjure ways alive, to European settlers quietly passing the old ways from generation to generation. Witchcraft has never been far. So much so that this is part 2 of the discussion.
We will get back to witchcraft, but first we want to invite you to like, follow, and subscribe to Dark Ozarks on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast platform. We also invite you to become a Dark Ozarks subscriber on Facebook. On the Dark Ozarks Facebook page, click subscribe, have your login information ready, and join Dark Ozarks behind the scenes for only $4.99 per month.
Your $4.99 per month subscription allows you to come with us on paranormal investigations, deep dive research, and topics too controversial for public view. The next 100 subscribers will be entered in a drawing for a free Dark Ozarks t-shirt and an exclusive signed first-round copy of the book, Dark Ozarks, The Spooklight. Subscribe today to be entered in the drawing.
And now you can get Dark Ozarks t-shirts for sale at darkozarks.com and paranormalsciencelab.com.
Mark your calendars for upcoming live events beginning Saturday, September 30th at the Civil War Home, the Kendrick House in Carthage, Missouri, and a number of other locations through November. Meet Dark Ozarks producers Lisa and Josh for evenings of history, legends, and the paranormal, and even visit some of the most haunted locations in the Ozarks. Details on the Dark Ozarks Facebook page. Visit www.paranormalsciencelab.com for tickets and more information.
We encourage you to check out Always Buying Books in Joplin, Missouri, in person and online, on Facebook and at the website alwaysbuyingbooks.com for all of your reading needs, including a large section on the paranormal, history, and more. Not to mention, the building is haunted. Tell Bob and Elise that we sent you.
We also want to thank Beard Engine Brewing Company in Alba, Missouri. Beard Engine Brewing is the only English-style brewery in Missouri and has been twice named Missouri's best brewery by the Missouri Brewers Association. Great beer and great food in a historical building with a noir past. And yes, their building is also haunted. Tell Nate and Tiff that we sent you.
So, witchcraft in the Ozarks.
It is an interesting and sometimes difficult subject based on the fact of, first of all, perceptions about witchcraft and here in the Bible Belt, as well as the fact that many times witchcraft is simply not talked about, or it is understood, but not necessarily understood under the definition of witchcraft.
Very true. And another thing that may surprise people is that so many different groups brought witchcraft with them to the Ozarks.
They did. And it certainly spices up the analysis of people groups and settlement and sociology. Nothing spices up sociology class like witchcraft. And it really is incredibly fascinating, because each of the people groups that had a dominant voice or have a dominant voice in the Ozarks bring elements of witchcraft with them. It really is particularly interesting when you begin to realize that every people group to settle in the Ozarks has brought a different form of witchcraft.
That's true. And then they've had influences on each other.
They have. So there is the reality that over the last 200 years and continuing to today, that we see fusion practices develop, or hybridization or crossover practices develop. And that, from what we can tell, certainly began very early with early essentially cross-pollination of ideas from the Scots-Irish, from German settlers, African American populations, and Native American tribal populations, all in some form either competing, contributing, or some of both to share. And then, of course, today we see additional influxes, not only of specific people group traditions, but because of the flow of information, we see a lot of differing practices very easily being injected in some cases through simply availability of books, to the internet, to the fact that information can just travel a lot more quickly.
And that it is, while still a taboo subject for some, not as much of a taboo as it used to be.
It is definitely changing. It does at times elicit fear to the uninitiated, depending on the type of witchcraft being practiced. Sometimes it initiates fear to the initiated. And it does come with a lot of misunderstanding, some of that purposeful, some of that simply the fallout of popular culture or religious tradition. And it is certainly, in terms of the origin points of various witchcraft practices, there are many situations in which, in American historical documentation, it can be difficult to trace because much of it remained underground. Some of it still remains underground, but for many, many years, practices oftentimes would only show up occasionally.
Very true. And sometimes just outright denied for various reasons. And we're going to get into that and a lot more in the long format video that will be up later this week. And in between, we invite you to check out upcoming events and merchandise at darkozarks.com and paranormalsciencelab.com. Thank you again to Always Buying Books and Beard Engine Brewing Company for helping to bring the Dark Ozarks to everyone.
On the next episode, we are going to be discussing Halloween lore of the Ozarks. Catch the Dark Ozarks podcast on Brenson Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or about any other podcast platform. Thank you, everyone. And remember, there are no easy answers in the Dark Ozarks.